coronavirus pandemic has refused to relent across the world as the US has registered the most number of active cases. With China more or less controlling the epidemic in the past several days, the news reports from the rest of the world is not so encouraging as Spain has surpassed China as the second worst hit nation in terms of the number of casualties by the deadly COVID-19. Meanwhile, back home, it's the fourth day of lockdown today. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the top stories of the hour. People start exhibiting support to the nationwide lockdown aimed at containing possible coronavirus outbreak. Public health expert rules out disastrous outcome in Nepal, citing adequate preparations. Nepal Medical Council warns action against hospitals and doctors refusing to treat patients on suspicion of contracting novel coronavirus. The ongoing lockdown takes its toll on some 2 million low-income and daily wage workers. Rights activists call for relief packages to the economically vulnerable population. And the US overtakes all other nations in terms of confirmed cases of coronavirus with over 83,500 positive tests. Spain surpasses China as the second worst hit nation. It marks the fourth day of nationwide lockdown today. The main streets of the capital and across the country have remained empty since the lockdown began on Tuesday. The government imposed the lockdown starting 24th of March, which is scheduled to remain intact until 31st of March in a bid to contain the possible outbreak of novel coronavirus in the country. The third day yesterday witnessed very few instances of the violation of the lockdown by the public, as the majority of them chose being indoors than coming out. The main streets across the country have looked mostly deserted and most marketplaces remained closed. Security has been beefed up on main streets and security personnel at the city's major thoroughfares urged the general public not to come out of their homes except in emergency. Meanwhile, the traffic police have taken into custody the private motorcycle and vehicles plying with the pass provided by the District Administration Office. All domestic and international flights have been grounded while border transits have been closed as well. As per the Infectious Disease Act, anyone flouting the directive can be subject to at least 1 month of imprisonment along with monetary penalties. Now, the general speculation in the face of global coronavirus outbreak is that the infection would eventually turn catastrophic in Nepal and that the country's health facilities and medical human resources would not be able to meet such a crisis. However, public health expert Dr. Mahesh Maske has tried to alleviate the people's fear in general, citing that Nepal would not face any disastrous outcome of the coronavirus outbreak, largely due to the fact that the country has already adopted major precautionary measures such as lockdown, among others. He also added that maximum patience and caution on the part of public is essential in our fight to avert any catastrophic situation. In an interview with our correspondent Kripal Gautam, Dr. Maske also said that the country's public health mechanism and human resources are adequate to take care of the consequences of the coronavirus outbreak. Dr. Maske said that although Nepal is still at risk of further spreading of the coronavirus infection, there were grounds to believe that it won't take an epidemic form in the country since the infection has only been detected in the individuals coming in the country from abroad so far. Public health expert Maske added that going by the experience of other countries, there are two major aspects important to contain the virus outbreak. One, he said, is lockdown and social distancing, which Nepal has already adhered to, and the other one is strengthening the health service mechanisms. Maske said Nepal should now focus on enhancing its medical facilities and preparing human resources in this regard to further prevent the virus outbreak in the country. Meanwhile, Nepal Medical Council has warned of legal action against the hospital administrations and doctors who have reportedly refused to treat the patients having even mild fever in the pretext of not having personal protection equipment. The council has insisted that all the hospitals in the country should attend to the patients in need by making the maximum use of their resources at a time when the entire country has plunged into the crisis of global outbreak of novel coronavirus. There are altogether 618 private hospitals in operation across the country. However, majority of them recently have been asking the patients to return without treatment, suspecting them of contracting the novel coronavirus. This has denied treatment to other patients with other forms of pneumonia and typhoid. The private hospitals have been receiving various facilities and concessions for delivering medical services to the public. However, these hospitals are now refusing to treat the patients with suspected symptoms of the novel coronavirus, leading to a blatant anarchy in the country's health service. And moving on, the government has initiated efforts to rescue foreign tourists stranded in different parts of the country due to the current nationwide lockdown. At least 60 tourists were brought to Kathmandu from Pokhara, Lukla and Dhading yesterday afternoon. Rescue activities came into effect as the high-level committee dedicated to contain the possible spread of coronavirus in the country decided to ease the transport for these stranded foreign nationals to return to their respective home countries. 49 tourists from France were rescued from Pokhara through Buddha Air, whereas 14 tourists were rescued from Lukla through Tara Air. Choppers have also been used to rescue the tourists. Those brought to Kathmandu have been kept in quarantine in hotels of the capital. Currently, there are at least 10,000 foreign tourists in Nepal. Various nations are working to keep their airplanes to standby, in fact, to rescue their citizens. According to the spokesperson of Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, Rajkumar Chetri, Germany is preparing to fly back their citizens today and tomorrow. Around 2 million low-income and daily wage workers across the country have lost their source of income due to the current nationwide lockdown. Meanwhile, the public and rights activists have demanded the government to come up with effective relief packages to safeguard the livelihoods of such individuals and their families. The government does not even have exact data about the daily wage workers in the country, which has posed more obstacles in their identification so that they can be provided with relief materials and support. At a time when the ongoing lockdown is likely to be extended, it is necessary to ensure the food security and well-being of hundreds of thousands of citizens who are likely to suffer during this period of national crisis. Sherbahadur Dewa, the president of the main opposition Nepali Congress, has said that lockdown can be the only effective way to contain the possible outbreak of coronavirus in the country. Taking to his Twitter account on the third day of the nationwide lockdown yesterday, Nepali Congress President Dewa, however, requested the government to be alert towards preventing the possibility of starvation among some parts of the population due to obstruction in the supply and sales of food items. Dewa has also urged the government to immediately announce relief packages aimed at the daily wage workers and the ones belonging to economically challenged backgrounds. Likewise, former Prime Minister and NCP leader Madhav Kumar Nepal has requested the public to simultaneously exercise patience and caution at the time of this global health emergency. Nepal has urged the public to stick to all the directives and provisions of the government, including the lockdown, to prevent the risk of novel coronavirus outbreak in the country. It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what is necessary to provide relief to the low-income and daily wage workers during lockdown? Your options are A, government's relief package, B, local government's initiative, and C, community support. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
The World Anti-Doping Agency President Witold Banka said the International Olympic Committee has taken a correct decision to postpone the 2020 Tokyo Olympics until next year due to coronavirus pandemic. According to a World Anti-Doping Agency official website, the health and safety of the athletes remains the #1 priority for the agency and the anti-doping community, and it is clear that the correct decision has been taken in this challenging and unprecedented situation. The World Anti-Doping Agency, in its statement, said they have been working closely with anti-doping organizations, athletes and other stakeholders to ensure the integrity of the global anti-doping program is maintained as far as possible during this time and to ensure that the system returns to full power as quickly and effectively as possible once this crisis is abated. Tennis superstar Roger Federer and his wife Berka have announced that they will be personally donating $1.02 million to help the most vulnerable families in Switzerland impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. Federer said that no one should be left behind in the fight against COVID-19 and urged more people to contribute to the vulnerable families in Switzerland, wherein more than 100 people have lost their lives. According to official figures reported to the World Health Organization, Switzerland has the 9th highest number of infections in the world. Switzerland has recorded more than 8,000 cases and 66 deaths due to COVID-19, and authorities have banned gatherings of more than 5 people in public spaces, with fines being given to those failing to adhere to the regulations. That's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Have a good day ahead and stay safe.